The #1 killer of young adults is drinking and driving. It accounts for 32% of the total traffic fatalities every year. Young people seem to have the idea that they're invincible. This gets them in a lot of trouble and causes them a lot of pain and suffering. I had this typical attitude of being invincible until my friend's car accident. He decided to get behind the wheel after he had been drinking, and he paid the price. My name is Adam Oxford, and I'm giving this speech over how my friend's near-death experience influenced my life and 3 things that I learned from it. The sources I use for this speech are as follows: quotegarden.com, the Bible, the Book of Proverbs, the Free Dictionary, alcoholalert.com, randompensies.com, and finally an interview of my friend who was in the accident, Carter Tomlinson. Three things that I learned from my friend's near-death experience are as follows. I learned that in order to truly understand some things require first-hand experience. I learned that it takes almost losing something for me to fully appreciate it, and I learned that in hard times, the best remedy is thankfulness and hope. Sometimes it is difficult to just take someone's word for it. When you're young, you remember being in the house and bouncing the ball. Your mother told you not to, but you did it over and over anyway, until you broke something and you got in trouble. You had to learn the hard way and receive a timeout or a spanking. As you get older, you get more and more curious. Punishment for doing things that you're not supposed to do becomes more and more severe. When I first visited my friend in the hospital in the intensive care brain trauma unit, I saw something that I will never forget. The condition he was in was very shocking. He had machines hooked up to his head, he had casts on his arm and his leg, and several stitches. Whenever I saw him laying there unconscious, I truly understood finally what value he had in my own life. I learned that I didn't really understand his value in my own life because he was always there. I took our friendship for granted because I had known him for so long, and him being around was so constant. We take simple things for granted in life all the time. Arnold Edinburgh said, "Curiosity is the very basis of education. And if you tell me curiosity killed the cat, then I say the cat died nobly." I can recall one childhood experience I had when I was about 3 years old. It was Thanksgiving, and I was observing my grandmother cook over the electric stove in the kitchen. I noticed that when the stove was on, it turned red. And then when it was off, the color of the stove changed back to black. I needed to test out the heat of the stove, regardless of the color, for myself. So I grabbed a stool and I placed my index finger directly on the stove when it was black. Sure enough, it was still hot because it had just been turned off. I received 3rd-degree burns on my index finger and I had to be rushed to the emergency room. This is an example of learning things the hard way. I'm in no way opposed to curiosity, seeing it as the basis of education. But curiosity without common sense can be a deadly combination. I believe in treating every day as your last and living without regrets, but I don't believe in living stupidly. I believe in appreciating your loved ones, and whenever I saw my friend in the hospital, I had a better understanding of why I need to appreciate people close to me in everyday life, because you never know when you're going to lose them. A random pensioner posted that we all take things for granted. Basic things, simple things. It's normal, isn't it? Things that are constant, we live in a routine. And the more the routine, the more dependable that thing is, the more we stop noticing it. Examples of stuff like this is breathing. We always expect there to be oxygen, and we breathe without thinking about it. We don't ever think about, what if there was no oxygen? We don't worry about that. We take this thing for granted. Another example is simple things such as walking. When we're walking, we expect there to be ground underneath our feet. We don't have to think about left foot, right foot, because there's always been ground underneath our feet. So we take it for granted. I know that I can never be fully prepared for everything that comes my way in life. When I first visited my friend in the hospital, I saw his family, and they showed me something that I'll never forget. They showed me that although I can never be fully prepared for everything, that I can truly understand better if I can truly understand things better if I install principles within myself so I can be better prepared for situations that come my way. Whenever I first visited my friend, I expected his family to be distraught and devastated. Their child had just been in a very severe accident, but when I got to the emergency room, they were all upbeat and happy. They were just thankful that their child was still alive, and they were hopeful for him to make a full recovery. Their positive attitude showed me that having a negative attitude in poor situations gets you nowhere. It's always good to keep a positive attitude in tough situations and be thankful and hold on to what's good in life. To summarize my speech, I believe I owe it to my friend to learn from his misfortune and drastically change some of the everyday decisions that I make in my own life. To this day, my friend made a full recovery and he lives at home. He just got out of the hospital and I've been able to see him a few times, but not everybody is lucky as him. I plan on still carrying the 3 things that I learned from his near-death experience and using them in my everyday life. Thank you.